It's mid-October here in my organic kitchen garden, and as you can see the sun is out and it's actually t-shirt weather. But the only issue with that is clear skies during the day can lead to clear skies at night, and with that there's the threat of frost. So today I'm going to pop along to the pumpkin patch and just see if there's anything ready to harvest. I'm chancing it a bit here with the wheelbarrow because I haven't actually looked at the pumpkin patch for about a week or so. There might be nothing there. But it's such a lovely thing to do on a day like today. And don't get me wrong, there are a mountain of other things to do on the list, but I've just got to do one thing at a time. So pumpkins it is. Okay, I'm bringing you along with me as I walk in from the gate because at the minute it doesn't look very promising at all. I think last time I was here all of this was so lush and green, and now it just looks a little bit shriveled. But to be honest, that is exactly the look we're looking for. So give me a minute, I'll set up my tripod, grab my wheelbarrow and I'll show you around. Okay, we've got the perfect example here of a squash that is ready to harvest. This is the blue banana. I can't believe I'm in a t-shirt. This is the blue banana squash, and you can see, or can you, if my shadow isn't in the way, that these leaves that are actually attached to the squash here are completely dying off. That means that, well, the plant is dying. There is going to be very little more goodness sent back to the fruit itself. So if I can get out of my own shadow without squashing anything, what we want to do is make sure, you'll find sometimes that if they're ready to come off, if they're more than ready to come off, they might just break here. You really want to keep part of the stem. I'm going to clip it there and clip it there. You can take the leaf off as well if you like, but you need to keep part of that stem, almost think of it like a handle. Okay, because that, as that dries off, this will seal and that will become a completely sealed unit which will cure, and the better it cures the longer it's going to store for. And I've had these for up to a year before. So that, think about it, you want to lift it like that. You've got to try and make sure you leave a handle. If you haven't, don't worry, but just keep an eye on any that these snap off because they might not keep as long. But yeah, oh, that one's just that's the leaf one's just snapped off. But yeah, first of the squash, wipe off some mud if you want to. Not necessary. That's going in the barrow. Perfect. If I just show you, we've got a tromboncino here. I've never grown the tromboncino before. It's difficult with this sunlight, trying not to get in my own shadow. This one has actually come off itself. So if you can see there, there's very little stalk left on that little nub. I call it that little nub there. So it's got, I would keep an eye on that one. I don't think that will store. It's still got this bit on, which is the main point. But yeah, the more you can leave on, the better. So it's still okay. We've only grown these this year for novelty value because they always look fantastic. I always see other people at this time of year growing them and think, why didn't I give it a go? But I think they've actually done quite well. So yeah, let's see what we've got. Don't need all of you. been so lucky this year to have the space to grow such an amount of pumpkins and squash. But if you've only got a small space, you might want to be a little bit more choosy about what you grow. And I don't know if you can see that through all of this here. Can you see the colour of that? It is one of my absolute favourite squash. So what I'm saying is, if you are not sure, if you've only got one or two that you've got space for, try one of these. This is the Uchiki Kiri squash. And like I say, just the colour of that itself, that is just autumn, isn't it? That is just beautiful. And that depth of colour is reflected in the depth of the flavour in there. It is such a intense, nutty flavour. I know the most common squash that we eat here in the UK is the butternut squash, but this, if you can grow it or if you can get hold of it, give it a go, because honestly, it's like trying a different tomato from shop bought. You'll be amazed just how tasty this is. So really pleased that we've got a few of these to go in the barrow. Right, I'm just having a quick scan around now because there's bound to be a few I've missed, but I think I've got the majority. And once these leaves have died off completely, oh, here we go, blue banana. Look at that, missed him. Once these leaves die off completely, there'll be others that'll be standing out, I'm sure. But yeah, what a harvest, I'm pleased with those. Right, I'll show you where I'm going to store them. Well, I've got to say, if I can get through the gate, I'm so pleased with those. How good are they? Right, I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, as I said earlier, well, the main reason for these being picked today, some a little bit early, is that, oh dear, what's the, oh, it's the grapevine, is that any frost that comes now, if it's a hard frost, the likelihood is that these will just ruin. And when I say ruin, they might literally just burst, because at this stage they've still got quite a high water content. So what I need to be doing now, if I can actually get around the barrow, is getting them in my hopefully frost-free greenhouse for now, if there's room, and let them do the first bit of curing. Okay, when you bring them in, make sure any mud that you've got on, I mean ideally I'd have a damp cloth here, but you just want to knock any mud off, because if they're going to be sitting in here, you certainly don't want them sitting on top of the damp mud. So dead easy to knock off. I mean, you don't have to be too precious about it, but yeah, it just gives the squash that little bit extra help to dry out properly. So yeah, it takes seconds. Right, okay, 34 at the last count. I'm sure there's probably more. But I'm so pleased with these. We haven't got any giant squash because I didn't want any. We haven't grown these for show. We have grown these to eat. Now, if you were growing them to show, you would have pruned them much earlier in the season to let all the goodness go to 1 or 2 fruits instead of just letting them ramble, which we've done. These will be stored and they will be eaten. As I say, if they're stored correctly, if they're cured correctly, they should last at least 8 or 9 months, but very often they've lasted for a full year. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite squash recipe is. For us, the go-tos are either roast squash with garlic and oil and just intensifies the flavour, or soup, various sorts of soups. They lend themselves really, really well to that. So if you've got a recipe that you'd like to share, or you've seen and you'd like to try and you haven't tried it yet, pop it in the comments below, because not only for me to look at, but for everyone else to sort of share and see what inspiration there is out there. That would be brilliant. Right, these will now stay in here for, I would say, probably a few weeks now to start the curing process. But once we start to get really, really low nighttime temperatures, these will be going home with me, because we have got a nice little back room with a few racks on, and I just know in there it is absolutely frost free. I thought our shed was frost free until last year. We had a pumpkin explode in there around about November time, so it hadn't taken very long. But you think these are full of water, and if that expands, they will split unless this is cured properly. Okay, so comments below please. I really hope this has been of help, because it's that time of year now where we're all looking forward to these harvests. So let me know how you're doing, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.